All right, so today we're diving into a 2024 Bollywood film called Munjya.
Oh, yeah, Munjya.
Yeah, it seems like it's got a really unique blend of horror and comedy,
Yeah.
and also kind of dives into Indian folklore a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. It's got that kind of mischievous spirit haunting a people tree vibe.
Okay.
But it's not your typical ghost story,
Right.
Got the romance in there,
Oh,
the
yeah.
family secrets, unexpected twists, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and it's set in Konkan, India.
Yeah, beautiful spot.
And the film kind of jumps between 1952 and the present day.
I love when they do that.
Yeah.
It gives you that contrast
Yeah.
between like a more traditional setting
Yeah.
and then how things are playing out more modernly.
So our source material is a review that we found from moviekeyticket.com.
Oh, cool.
It gives a pretty good overview of the plot, what critics are saying.
Yeah.
So are you ready to kind of jump into this spooky, hilarious, and surprisingly heartwarming tale?
Let's do it.
Okay.
So we're going to start off back in 1952
Okay.
with a love triangle gone wrong.
Oh, boy.
Classic love triangle.
Yeah.
But we're introduced to this young Brahmin boy, Gocha.
Okay.
Now, for those who don't know, Brahmins are members of the highest caste in Hinduism.
Right.
And he's smitten with this woman, Muni, who's quite a bit older than him. But things get a little complicated when Muni gets engaged to someone else.
Oh, no.
You know how that goes.
Yeah.
So Gocha, driven by desperation and his unrequited love, he attempts to poison Muni.
Oh, my God.
And it's this really tragic act fueled by passion.
Wow.
But also, they reveal that there's a touch of dark magic involved.
Wait, hold on. Dark magic. Okay,
Yeah.
this is getting good.
So this act kind of sets off a chain of events that ripple through time.
Oh, wow.
So Gocha dies, and his spirit, fueled by his love for money and tainted by this dark magic, becomes this entity called Munjya. Yeah, and he's trapped within a people tree.
Oh, interesting.
Which, if you don't know, in Indian culture, people trees are considered sacred,
Right.
often associated with deities.
Right. Okay.
So to see one portrayed as haunted adds this really interesting layer to the story.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then flash forward to the present day.
Yeah. Bring us to the present.
We're introduced to Bittu, a timid hairdresser
Okay.
who's plagued by nightmares about that same haunted tree.
Of course he is.
He has no idea about his family's connection to all of this
Uh-oh.
until they travel to Compton for a relative's engagement.
I see where this is going.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And guess what? The woman that his cousin is set to marry is Muni's granddaughter.
Oh, wow. Talk about a family reunion.
What are the chances?
Seriously.
So I'm guessing things don't exactly go smoothly at this engagement party.
Probably not right.
No.
The past catches up to the present,
Oh.
and Bittu ends up possessed by Munjya.
Oh, geez.
So it's this race against time to break this curse and save everyone involved.
Oh, man.
And this is where that blend of horror and comedy really comes into play.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned earlier that this film's part of something called the Matic Supernatural Universe.
Right.
What is that?
So basically, it's like a bunch of films, all created by Matic Films,
Okay.
that all revolve around supernatural themes in Indian folklore.
Okay.
And so Munjya is actually the fourth film in this universe.
Oh, wow.
And its success is really showing that people are really liking these types of stories.
Cool. Okay, so we've got heartbroken, ghost-haunted tree family entangled in a decades-old curse,
Yeah.
and a dash of dark magic.
It's a lot.
So how do they balance those elements of horror and comedy?
Well, the review mentions they do a really good job of blending it.
Okay.
So you see Bittu, possessed by Munjya, doing all these kind of mischievous things,
Yeah.
which leads to these genuinely funny situations.
Okay.
But at the same time, the film maintains that level of suspense and that eerie atmosphere,
Right.
especially when Munjya's around.
Well, I'm curious about Munjya, how they brought this character to life.
Yep.
The review mentions the use of CGI and the voice acting by Ayush Ulagade.
Yeah, so the filmmakers really went all out in creating this character.
You okay?
They use all this advanced CGI to craft this visually striking character.
Cool.
And Ayush Ulagade, who does the voice acting, just adds this whole other layer of personality and wit to the spirit.
Yeah.
I mean, some viewers might not like the CGI as much, but
Yeah.
it definitely plays a crucial role in bringing this character to life.
And Konkan as a setting as well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that eerie people tree set against that natural beauty.
Yeah.
It just seems like it adds a lot to the atmosphere.
Definitely. The film uses that natural beauty of Konkan
Yeah.
to create this sense of wonder and dread at the same time.
Wow.
And even the soundtrack by Sachin Jigar blends traditional Indian music with some more modern elements.
Yeah.
Which also reflects that unique genre blend.
Okay. So we've got a compelling storyline, this unique blend of horror and comedy.
Yeah.
Impressive visuals, captivating setting.
Yeah.
What did the critics think?
So it's a little mixed. It's sitting at about a 56% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Which isn't terrible, but it's not amazing either.
Right.
Some critics felt like the film was a bit formulaic.
Oh.
And that it had some pacing issues, especially in the first act.
Okay.
So not everyone was like blown away.
Yeah.
But at the same time, other critics praised it for its novelty and its technical achievements, especially the visual effects.
Okay.
And they also really appreciated how they tried to blend those different genres.
Right.
And how they explored those themes rooted in Indian folklore.
Interesting.
So it's just like, it's not a masterpiece for everyone.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an entertaining and thought-provoking experience for those who want to go along for the ride.
Did it find an audience, though?
It totally did.
Okay.
It was actually a huge box office hit.
Oh, wow.
It made 132 crore worldwide.
Wow.
Against a budget of only 30 crore.
That's amazing.
And it's even more impressive because it had kind of a slow start.
Oh, really?
Yeah, at the box office.
The word of mouth.
Yeah, it seems like word of mouth really helped.
Yeah.
Like people were telling their friends, hey, this is actually a pretty good movie. It's really unique.
Right.
So more and more people started going to see it.
Okay, so despite those mixed reviews, it definitely seems like it captured the attention of audiences.
Oh, yeah.
And became a commercial success.
Big time.
Okay, well, where does that leave Munjya within the Maddox supernatural universe?
That's a good question.
Is this like a standalone story, or is it connected to the other films in the franchise?
Well, it definitely has its own storyline,
Right.
but it exists in that interconnected universe.
Okay.
So there could be little references, recurring characters, or even events that tie it to the other films.
Interesting.
It's like a puzzle.
Yeah.
And each film adds a new piece.
I like that.
And together, they create this bigger picture of this supernatural world
I like it.
that Maddox Films is building. So yeah, it's like one big puzzle.
So for anyone listening who enjoys a good mystery, you might want to check out some of the other films in this universe.
Yeah, definitely.
And see if you can spot any of those connections.
Have fun with it.
But let's get back to Munjya for a moment.
Okay.
This film's success, especially with the blend of humor and horror and the Indian folklore, it seems to be really resonating with people.
Yeah, it's interesting. Why now?
Yeah.
Why is this particular mix of genres and cultural elements really capturing the imaginations of audiences today?
Well, I mean, it's like you said earlier about the people trees.
Yeah.
Being sacred in Hindu culture.
Right.
And then seeing one portrayed as haunted in a film that also has those comedic elements. It's just such a unique approach.
Exactly. It's like they're subverting expectations.
Right.
And creating something fresh within the horror genre.
Yeah.
And by weaving in those elements of Indian folklore, they're tapping into this rich tapestry of stories and beliefs.
Right. That have been passed down for generations.
I think it also has something to do with a growing interest in exploring and reclaiming cultural heritage, especially through modern mediums like film.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it all over the world right now.
Yeah.
People wanting to connect with their roots.
Yeah.
And I think Munjya provides a way for audiences to do that.
Yeah.
It takes these familiar elements from Indian folklore, gives them a modern cinematic twist,
Right.
and it makes them accessible and entertaining.
Yeah. And I think the humor is also a big factor.
Oh, definitely.
Not everybody enjoys being scared out of their wits.
Right.
But by adding that comedic relief,
Yeah.
I think they're able to reach a much wider audience.
Absolutely. The humor acts as that counterbalance to the horror.
Right.
And it makes it more enjoyable for people who maybe don't normally watch those scary movies.
Right.
And it also creates a more layered experience.
I remember reading that it's not considered a cinematic masterpiece, that it has flaws, especially when it comes to pacing and some predictable plot elements.
Yeah, there were definitely some critiques about that.
Yeah, so not perfect.
But I think even with those imperfections, it sparked these conversations.
Right.
And introduced a new way of looking at Indian folklore and horror.
It's kind of like those classic B-horror movies.
Oh, yeah.
They might not be winning any Oscars.
Right.
But they have a certain charm to them.
Exactly.
And they're entertaining.
I think Munjya shares that same spirit.
Yeah.
It's not trying to be this highbrow art film.
Right.
It's aiming to entertain and engage audiences with a story that's both familiar and fresh.
And from a commercial standpoint, it did really well.
It did.
So what do you think this means for the future of the Matic supernatural universe?
Oh, I think we're going to see more.
Yeah.
Munjya's success has proven that there's a huge audience for these stories.
Right.
And I think we're going to see more films featuring, those familiar spirits, creatures from Indian folklore, maybe even tackling contemporary issues through that supernatural lens.
I'm already picturing a film about a mischievous Rakshasa causing chaos in like a Mumbai skyscraper.
I love it.
But what about Munjya?
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see him come back?
Well, I mean, the ending definitely leaves it open for his return.
Okay.
And remember, his spirit is bound to that people tree in Konkan.
Which brings up an interesting question.
Yeah.
What happens to a spirit's power in a globalized world? Like, what if someone took a cutting from that tree and planted it somewhere else?
I like where you're going with this.
Could Munjya's influence extend beyond Konkan?
It really makes you think
about
the intersection of ancient beliefs and the modern world.
Right.
Could these traditional stories and the supernatural elements still hold power in a world where boundaries are constantly shifting?
It's like we've uncovered a whole other layer to this story.
We have.
It makes you think about the relevance of folklore in our world.
Yeah, and that's what I love about these deep dives.
Yeah.
You start with one piece of content, and it just opens up all these fascinating avenues to explore.
Right.
And Munjya might be a horror comedy set in a specific cultural context.
Yeah.
But the questions it raises about belief and tradition and the power of stories are universal.
So for anyone listening, if you're curious about Munjya,
definitely check it out.
I highly recommend checking it out. And while you're at it, explore some of the other films in the Matic supernatural universe.
Yes, you might be surprised at what you discover.
Yeah.
And how they can make you think about the world in new ways.
You know what I find really interesting about all this is that it's like Munjya has given us this glimpse into this world where ancient beliefs and modern life are kind of colliding.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that even in a world that's changing so rapidly, these ancient traditions and stories still have something to offer.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Munjya, what would you say is the biggest takeaway for our listeners?
I think the biggest takeaway is that power of storytelling.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to exploring those cultural beliefs and traditions. Munjya might be a horror comedy.
Right.
But it touches on those deeper themes of love loss and the influence of the past.
And the consequences of trying to poison the person you're in love with.
Yeah.
But
you're right. It's not just about the scares and the laughs.
Right.
It's about how those elements are woven together to tell a story that really resonates.
Yeah. And it reminds us that even in a world that's obsessed with technology and all this progress, there's still a place for these age-old stories.
Yeah, for sure.
They connect us to something bigger than ourselves.
And sometimes they offer a little escape, too.
Yeah. Which we all need.
Absolutely.
So to our listeners, if you haven't seen Munjya yet, give it a watch.
Check it out.
It's a really fun and thought-provoking film. And it's definitely going to spark some interesting conversations.
And for those who are already fans of the Matic supernatural universe, keep an eye out for what comes next.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? We might even see Munjya make a comeback.
I wouldn't rule it out.
But until then,
keep
exploring, keep questioning.
And keep those imaginations going.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Munjya and the Matic supernatural universe.
It was a pleasure.
We'll catch you next time.